One thing that is not available right now, which we are offering as a platform, is if I'm growing something organically, there is no physical marketplace or an offline marketplace where you can go and say that this is grown organically, so give me a better price for it.
Government steps in. It might swing to a corrupt way, depending on who in the government's doing it, what it is, which country's government, and of course there's a million variables obviously.
And my body is very complacent about not wanting to do what it should do.
Correct.
So at some point in time, you have to be also able to honestly, with integrity, differentiate whether that's something you're doing out of complacency and laziness, or is it coming from the inner voice telling you not to do it. If you can differentiate those things, then you're good enough, especially in terms of farmers and they've been committing suicide because they've not been making money, their lands are mortgaged.
Right.
So this is in one way to see how we can, in some ways, try and incorporate a kind of a system that will help the farmers and enable them to earn better.
Okay. And then it's like so packaged, so white, so well cut, and it's like multi-grain organic. Absolutely. I'm like, are you fucking out of your mind? What does that even mean? So we got John Abraham in the frame. You look like John Abraham, right? Bro, we were talking about the farmers.
I know. So now
why did the fitness confession come out?
This is good too. I don't get much of the Mosambik flavor.
Okay.
But cake is nice, well sweetened, moist, and the orange marmalade is definitely good.
I must say I love Indian food though.
You don't find it spicy or?
I mean, you can tailor it down, right?
There are no organisms left in the soil anymore, or very little organisms, and organisms are also essential to ensure that the soil is alive with beneficial bacteria for the plants to grow. So you can't just have chemicals and steroids being pumped into the system to grow your produce.
Huh? Where do you get all these quotes from? Tell me. Where are you stealing them from? I was like, not stealing them. Because she comes from a very survival immigrant mindset. She's like, nah, there's no way this guy can fucking write quotes like this. And she's like, see, it look like this guy must be lying. I'm like, why would I lie? What's there to lie in this? And she was like, so, how do you hear them? And I was like, I do a set in the gym and I'm like, and then I hear them. She's like, oh, okay. And then she'd look at me funny when I would win in poker. And then she'd look at me funny when I release a new song. Basically, she's pretty jealous. One day after a poker game, she was like, I hope all your luck dies.
Oh my God.
And I was like...
So, agriculture has always been something that I have seen and been with right from my childhood.
Right.
So, to put it that way, into perspective, food is my passion, but agriculture is close to my heart. I was pursuing my passion for a long time.
Right.
I did it for 22 years. Now I feel that agriculture is something that I should be doing in terms of a purpose to try and contribute towards helping the plight of the farmers, as well as trying to ensure that people are getting good, healthy food.
It looks like it's moving in microseconds. It's about to drop.
It's about to drop.
It is about.
That's okay. This would be an interesting combination to try. Cake is sweet lime. It's got the juice of sweet lime, and then you got an orange marmalade.
So the audience really likes this episode. I'm just moving into your house, and this gonna turn into a food video podcast. We can just go from venue to venue. Man, you need a food show, bro.
Yeah.
You're like really into this stuff.
I'm actually going to get into it.
Yeah. Oh, is that chocolate?
Yeah.
How is that?
It's very nice. It's nice and moist.
Okay.
It doesn't look that moist when you look at it in terms of the appearance, but It's got the moistness that it needs. This is chocolate.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Zephyr Show. Person I have with me today is Nainshad Batliwalla. Do you want me to put your surname in there?
That's okay.
Okay. So that's Nainshad Batliwalla, and if I didn't pronounce that correctly, he's going to pronounce it correctly and tell you what it is. So we're inside Kitab Khana, which is a bookstore in India. I came here the previous time too and bought this amazing book. The Spirits Talk to Me. I'm going to put the link in the description. But right now we're in a cafe called Sabko. They didn't say Sabko what, so I don't know what the full sentence is. But Sabko means to everyone.
For everyone.
For everyone. To everyone. However you want to, yeah.
It's for all.
For all. That's what it means. So Nainshad, would you like to just, how would you describe yourself? Don't give a formal introduction because this is a chat show. It's, on the audience who's going to be watching this, they follow me and they see through bullshit just like I do. So don't frame it. Just talk about yourself.
As Zephyr said, I'm Nainshad Batliwalla from Mumbai, India. Describe myself, I'm a foodie. I love food, I love life, and I believe in being alive. I want to live with my purposes in life and at the same time live in the moment. That's something to sum me up as.
That's cool. Thanks for that.
Make sense?
Yes, makes sense and very heartfelt. And I like the no BS. Okay, so what are you up to these days? The last time we spoke after we did the fitness course in 2020, then last year we met up in 2022, December, and you said that you were working on helping farmers, I believe.
Right.
Yes. And so can you explain a little bit more? Helping consumers and the farmers.
Right.
So what do you do?
So definitely not into fitness.
Okay.
So it was a good education on it.
Okay.
I thought I would stick to it,
Yeah.
but unfortunately did not stick to it much, though I do it infrequently.
You look alright. I can see like muscle tone in your arms.
Right. I do it infrequently. Unfortunately, I'm not that consistent with it,
Okay.
but it's good to have been able to educate it again and refresh in terms of what you can do on your own rather than having to go outside and get yourself a trainer. I used to be an athlete during my school days too, and I was pretty much very, very fit in those days.
Right.
So I will definitely get fit again. I am working towards it, though not very consistent, but getting better and better each day. I'm getting younger.
Bro, we were talking about the farmers.
I know. So now
Why
coming
did
to
the
the
fitness confession come out?
because you asked me what you're doing these days, so I wanted to, and we met because of the
that's true. That's
right.
That's true.
The health
That
healthy
is true.
stuff.
That is true.
So I have to give you an update as my coach
Thanks for doing that.
on where I am at this moment with that.
Cool.
So yeah, I work with organic farmers.
All right.
We have a company by the brand name of Kheti-Badi,
Kheti-Badi.
and I'm the co-founder and the chief CEO of the company.
You want to
What we
translate
basically do
that?
is Kheti-Badi basically means farming. As I said, we support organic farmers, and what we do is we facilitate the trade between organic farmers and between organic buyers more on a bulk basis. The main core area is to market the farmers, to empower them to get market ready, especially the marginalized farmers
Right.
who don't have market linkage.
Okay.
And we get them market ready, and if at all they want us to market their products, it's fine, we do market the products. Otherwise, as far as we've empowered them, we believe that we've done what we are supposed to do.
Can I ask just quickly, what kind of market linkage? And because I imagine if they're already farmers, they must be making some money selling to someone.
Right.
So that's already their market. So what market are you referring to?
It's not necessary that every farmer has a market.
Okay.
Many don't, and especially when you look at marginalized farmers and farmers who are not empowered,
Yeah.
then they don't have markets too. They have the local vendors who come over to their farms and buy their stuff at very cheap rates.
Oh, right.
So-
Okay.
We empower them to get ready. We give the pricing power back into their hands where they decide at what rate they want to sell their products,
Yeah.
and then we sell them into the open market or to B2B buyers.
Right.
So we have an organic platform.
Right.
It's a marketplace, a virtual one,
Okay.
and that's what we trade on. So we provided them with a platform to do so.
Cool. So they can now use that platform once it's fully functioning, ready, and to the level you want it to be once you're done building that, to sell their crops or fruits, vegetables
Correct.
to somebody on the street in Mumbai.
Not on the streets, but to B2B or bulk buyers. Now the bulk buyers
Bulk
could be even small shop owners
Right.
who buy in a certain bulk quantity of say 20 kgs, 25 kgs, and then they're selling it within their vicinity or neighborhoods.
Right.
So it's not necessary that we will do only a ton
Right.
worth of fruits in terms of transactions.
Right.
But cumulatively, over a period of time,
Yeah.
when we add up the weeks and the months,
Yeah.
we sell a lot. Because even though we sell small quantities,
Yeah.
the number of shops that we sell to or facilitate the trade between
Yeah.
are more. So eventually, the farmer gets a lot.
So what? Okay, so let's just break that down a little bit. So when you said we sell more, are you referring to you as a platform or the individual farmers now? Everyone
Yeah,
altogether.
the farmer.
The farmer sells more. And so you said like a small bulk order of 20 kilos
This is an example.
as an example. So versus what? Like previously, would they not be selling 20 kilos? Or
No, previously, the way it mainly works is
Yeah.
that they go to the local APMC market, which are the wholesale government markets,
Right.
and they sell it out there, and the pricing power is not in there.
Okay.
Pricing power belongs to the APMC vendors at that point in time, whatever the market rate is, which
Right.
is normally nominal or minimal. Here, they are in a position to directly sell to the consumers,
Right.
and that's how they are able to cut through these layers and also then
So if I'm getting this, got it. So if I'm getting this correctly, now they can control the pricing, right? They have the ability to,
Correct.
versus in the past where they just like, oh, we're just in this farm, these people come to us, and that's our life.
right,
So now they can price it,
right,
and of course, simultaneously, as you grow the platform and get more people on board, you also grow the volume.
absolutely,
So volume and pricing.
correct.
Right. And together, obviously, that makes more profits
Right.
for everyone. So previously, you were in shipping. Is that right?
Yeah,
On a ship.
but on a cruise ship.
On a cruise ship. So that means, in my mind, you are familiar with nightlife, partying, dishing out food to people,
Yeah,
service, basically, hospitality.
I was in the food department, food and bev.
And you said manager, so you were managing things a little
Yeah.
bit or a lot. So how did you go from that to suddenly, I now want to help some farmer somewhere, obscure locations, which might not be in your interest, possibly, or rather might not be in the interest of somebody else in your position. It almost feels like, and I don't want to generalize, but I just can't help see the things that I see and connect the dots. Where just like everyone's having a spiritual awakening on earth, and everyone at this particular stage, for some people, when it's midlife, when they're like 30, 35, like me, some people in their 40s, some people in their 50s, some people in their 60s. These age ranges, I'm finding the more and more people I speak to, suddenly there's a flip in something, either because they're retired, or because they awaken, or because they just want to give back now to society, or whatever the reason might be. Do you notice that kind of change in your career? I mean, other than the obvious, you changed vocation, change things.
Yeah.
But is there something underlying at the back, or some other change in your life that happened at the same time? You got into meditation, or whatever, right? For some people, that's loss of a loved one. For some people, it's I move countries now, I want to do something different. Is there something in your life that's leading to this? Like, I maintain food and beverage on a cruise ship. That sounds like a paradise entertainment. For me, at least, because I love food too. How did that go to the hard work of now I'm going to contact the farmers and it just seems off. Like, what's going on?
See, I come from an agricultural family.
Okay.
So agriculture has always been something that I have seen and been with right from my childhood.
Right.
So to put it that way, into perspective, food is my passion, but agriculture is close to my heart. I was pursuing my passion for a long time.
Right.
I did it for 22 years.
Right.
And now I feel that agriculture is something that I should be doing in terms of a purpose to try and contribute towards helping the plight of the farmers, as well as trying to ensure that people are getting good, healthy food to eat.
But why the farmers?
because of agriculture.
I was with you until contribute, and then you said to help the farmers.
Right.
Why, out of all groups on planet Earth, are you drawn to farmers?
Because as I said, agriculture is close to my heart, and
In what sense?
I have seen the plight of the farmers. There are a lot of people, especially in terms of farmers, and they've been committing suicide because
Yeah.
they've not been making money. Their lands are mortgaged.
Right.
So this is in one way to see how we can, in some ways, try and incorporate a kind of a system that will help the farmers and enable them to earn better.
Okay, let's go deeper there. That's very interesting. How did you find out that farmers are committing suicide?
It's all over the news too, and we've had personal experiences.
Okay. Who's
Like
we?
we've as family,
Oh, your family.
right? But we've not lost anyone.
Okay.
Thank God in some ways, but
Yeah.
God bless the souls of the people who have. But
Okay.
at the same time, being from the village, being into agriculture, as I said, my forefathers were agriculturists.
Okay.
So we know and we hear of people committing suicides
Mhm.
because agriculture is not something that has become very sustainable. It is not a sustainable mode of doing business anymore or an occupation
In India.
in India, right? And then,
That's so hard to believe for me as an outsider.
well, it is true.
Okay.
And so that's why we have to try and see how we can change the system in a manner that makes it sustainable for the farmers to still do agriculture. Youngsters are not interested anymore in doing agriculture.
Okay.
At least most of them are not.
Yeah.
They're moving out of it. And if they are pursuing their passion by not being in agriculture and doing something else, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if the main reason for leaving the farms
Yeah.
is because they know that it's not going to be able to even sustain, forget about making good money. Then why do this? Do something else. And
Okay.
we all understand that growing food is very essential for humanity as well as for every other animal living on the planet.
That's true. So my business, okay, I'm just ask you a question there. So my business brain is going, if these newbies, because a lot of industries, older people are complaining, these newbies are coming in and stealing all our business. So now if newbies are leaving, doesn't that leave more market share for the people who are left behind? Because we all still need to eat food. We've not evolved to the point where everyone's popping pills for breakfast, lunch, dinner
Right.
as the main meal.
Right.
That's maybe 400 years in our timeline ahead. We're not there yet. So people are still eating fresh food. So doesn't it mean that if younger people just get out, that's more market share for the older people? Why is it?
The younger
What's the
people-
hard part exactly?
The hard part is that the next generation is not into agriculture.
And-
So when this generation, which is presently into agriculture, moves on from Earth,
Yeah.
there will be no one to do agriculture.
But-
That is what this needs to be understood. So
Okay.
if I am a father
Yeah.
and I'm already 70, 80 years, I'm still on the farms working,
Yeah.
but my son is not wanting to be in agriculture because agriculture does not sustain the family. And
Right.
he's moved on. Who's going to tend the farms?
But why would that make it hard now? Right now, I would still be making money.
No,
Right?
you're not
Oh.
making money.
Oh, because that's the part I
Right.
want to figure
Actually,
out. What's so
you're-
hard?
The hard part is there's a lot of climate change happening.
Oh,
Chemicals that are being used.
okay.
Market linkages are not there, especially for the small farmers. Pricing power is not with the farmers. So we've got to try and see how we can figure these things out collectively together and see how you can work them out.
Okay, so in a sense, okay, I think I get it now. So if the younger generation was involved, or at least the middle-aged generation was involved, then there would be more hands on deck to really make this a thriving, booming industry in a sense.
Right.
The picture I'm getting from what you're saying is now they're just on their own, and then there's all these other problems like climate
Absolutely.
change and chemicals and blah, blah.
But,
And they also being, in a sense, oppressed by not being by these middlemen, whoever's businesses it is to get their crops and sell them.
True.
Oh, yeah. But one part of my brain still goes like, but that's so dumb of us as humans to not. I mean, if I was a big business owner, I had millions of dollars in the bank, I would be all over this industry because there's so much money to be made. Yes, even by helping and growing. And it's just strange to me that they just isolate it, which is just weird. Because it's like, if that thing is a moneymaker, why would they be isolated? Like, if gold is a moneymaker, you don't see places where you can mine gold being isolated. People are all over that shit. So, it's just strange.
see, it's not a glamorous business either.
Yeah, possibly.
It is laborious too. It is not
Right.
that easy just work in the farms,
Right. That makes sense, yeah.
especially in climatic conditions, which can be harsh. It could be very hot, it could rain, and it could be very cold at times too.
Okay.
So that is another deterrent for many. And plus, at the same time, again, the way things are going on right now, the farmers are not making money. That's the main thing. Farmers are not making money out of the products. So we've got to try and understand how can they start earning better for their own produce,
Of course.
rather than other people making more money out of them.
Right.
I'm not saying that the middlemen are not doing their work. They too have a role in the entire system.
Of course.
But if the farmer ultimately, who's the one who's doing the farming and producing, cultivating his produce, should at least have the ability to demand a price, or at least command the prices that he should be getting.
Right.
And so there is an opportunity that we are trying to provide them in terms of trying to give the pricing power back to the farm. So they may not be able to sell all their products at that rate. They may have to still sell some of the products in the APMC or whichever open markets that are available.
Yeah.
But at least even if a percentage, 15%, 20%, and as the percentages will later increase, wherein that product can be sold at a higher margins, it helps them get money for themselves.
Of course.
Another thing is, it is said that the organic farming also, as they start getting into organic farming, the input cost comes down.
Right.
Right now, the way things are, and the way things work is that the chemicals that are being used, every year the input cost of the chemicals keep going high. That is again something that is not in the favor of the farmer.
And these are necessary chemicals?
They are supposed to be necessary. That is what they've been told, but probably they are not. But it's the entire system and the level of consciousness that is created amongst them that this is the education system. You feed this, you have this problem. To inject this, there is a problem. But there could be natural ways of doing things rather than the chemical interventions that we're using.
Yeah.
And those are the things that we need to try and bring back. So the ecosystem too, the environment too has to breathe. The soil too needs to become vibrant and alive as it was before, rather than being poisoned with with chemicals. There are no organisms left in the soil anymore, or very little organisms, and organisms are also essential to ensure that the soil is alive with beneficial bacteria for the plants to grow. So you can't just have chemicals and steroids being pumped into the system to grow your produce.
Yeah, no, totally. So, there's a lot of things there. Right. So basically, that's a whole, the system is due for a nice revamping. And the soil is screwed up now. That's what you're saying.
To great extent, everywhere.
Yeah, is that why Sadhguru started the same soil there? Yeah. Wow. That is, sometimes I do have these thoughts that maybe, one day, maybe the soil will not disappear and we'll just be living in this sterile world that you see in science fiction movies.
Yeah.
And that seems a bit crazy. I don't want to live there. Wow. So how's it going?
It's going well. It's going
Where
slow and steady.
Okay.
We don't have many who are still into the organic. But slowly and steadily, people are getting into the system. It takes a while because seeing is believing, right? So people want to make sure that they are getting into the right things. If at all they do change from chemicals to organic, it's not an easy change in the first place. It takes a while. They need to have the know-how to have certain interventions in place whenever there is a kind of a disease or a pest infestation, as to how they are going to be taking care of their crops. Mm-hmm. So that's where organic consultants come into play.
Right.
And we engage with them too. And slowly and steadily, the system seems to change. It's slow, but it's happening. Organic is a fad even right now.
A fad?
Yes. It is kind of something which is still kind of something which is called in fashion, or something which the rich are supposed to be into.
Okay.
So that has to go off. Organic is supposed to be the way food is supposed to be grown.
So it's not meant to be a fad.
Right.
Okay.
It's supposed to be grown naturally.
Right.
It's supposed to have minimal chemical interventions, only if needed.
Agree.
Those are the ways in which there may be chances that we may not completely chemical free.
Right.
The different schools of thoughts, like you have in medicine, same way in cultivation.
Yeah.
But definitely the amount of chemicals that are being input into the soil and into the food is something worth looking at and should be looked at and seeing how we can reduce it. Because ultimately we are consuming these.
Okay.
That's how it affects us too.
Yeah, that's right. And I was having this intuition today in the shower before coming for the show, and somehow my guides, they always just popped in the shit at the right time. And when we talked more about that in the previous episode, but we can talk about it here too, because you're also a bit spiritually tuned. Like, what's the government doing about this? So that was a question that popped into my head. Government, to ask you, because you would know, because I wouldn't know in this field what they're doing or not doing.
Government is open to try and help us, but it's a slow process, as I said.
Help you or help them directly?
Help them.
Okay.
And at stages, if at all they need to assist us in a way, they are fine to do that too. But we've got to, we also will have to come up with something which is comprehensive in terms of a solution
Right.
to garner government support. But
Right.
government has put in place
Yeah.
organic certification
Yeah.
agencies,
Yeah.
and they have systems in place where people who want to do it organically
Yeah.
can be given the support that is necessary.
Yeah.
One thing that is not available right now, which we are offering as a platform, is if I'm growing something organically, there is no physical marketplace or an offline marketplace where you can go and say that this is grown organically, so give me a better price for it. Right? Whether it's grown organically or it's
Yeah.
sown conventionally, right now, the marketplace, you go to the open marketplace, it gives you the same rate. So sometimes the farmers are not willing to change because in the conversion system,
Yeah.
you could be making lesser harvest,
Yeah.
at least at the time when the conversion starts.
Okay.
So farmers are not very enthused about doing it because they may lose revenue. They don't know if they will succeed, stuff like that. So that is where the platform is able to help them. Because now you have something which says that if you are organic and it is certified organic, then there are people on this platform who will buy your stuff
Right.
at a better rate. Maybe
Yeah.
not double and triple the rate, but
Yeah.
at least 15%, 20% more
Yeah, yeah.
than what you would get in the market,
Right.
which you should be happy with.
Right. So I have two questions. The first one was, you said it's going to take a while to get into the organic, and they might view it as they might lose revenue and so on and so forth. And there's not many people who will like sell it based on the premise that it's organic. However, as a consumer like me, for example, I'm just a person walking on the street. I don't know anything about all this. When I buy like a drink from a 7-Eleven or your equivalent convenience store here, or chemists, what do you call them? The packaging does say, right? Organic.
Yeah,
Organic.
it should. If it is organic, if they're selling it as organic, they should have the packaging. Even when the farmer sells his product as organic, the basic authenticity
Yeah.
that they have
Yeah.
to showcase is the organic certification, which comes from the government accredited agency.
Right.
So there are government accredited agencies which
Yeah.
work with the farmers
Yeah.
and go and inspect their land.
No,
So
but-
you have to have
yeah.
yourselves. It is always preferable to get yourself certified as
Yeah.
organic,
Right.
and that's how the authenticity comes into play,
Yeah.
along with the consumer's view, right? Because
Yeah.
otherwise you could be just dropping someone saying that this is organic.
Right.
How do you prove it? Prove it by being certified.
So that was my question. So when the bigger brands, like a Himalaya or something to that effect, right? Like Evian overseas, if you've seen the water, or let's just say at some point Cadbury or Dairy Milk or someone. I did see there was some big chocolate brand saying things like organic or vegan or some shit like that. So when that happens, when you see it on this package, are you aware? Is it even real? Because honestly, a big brand could freaking say anything. I mean,
Then they do get tested, right? So
okay, so let's go into that, and let me just drop you the second question as well before I forget. My second question was going to be, if you're aware, when you said because I asked about government support, my intuition is telling me, and many people they'll say yeah, but if the government steps in, it might swing to a corrupt way, depending on who in the government's doing it, what it is, which country's government, and of course there's a million variables, obviously. Just like many governments, like for example in Vancouver, I saw this documentary on YouTube where they're saying the government has partnered with pharma companies to make drugs and give them out free, right? So the government's paying these companies to buy the drugs from them. These drug companies are making a ton of money, and they try to solve their drug problem that way in Vancouver, which is not working. They were like, oh, you guys don't steal and commit crime to get drugs, here's some free drugs. It's made it worse, apparently. So how do we prevent, because right now you said there are other organizations that, like wholesalers or whatever the word is in the supply chain, that buy stuff from these farmers and fruits and vegetables, right? And therefore their prices are sort of fixed. You want to give them more power. But now if you bring the government in, I'm not saying you should, but if it does, in case you're looking at it as a positive, wouldn't then there be a possibility for the thing to be controlled again? The government to be like, nah, you're a farmer, like, we're gonna oppress you.
I'm not sure how the government wants to approach it. At some point in time, they have to understand that they need to empower the farmers, they need to support the farmers. They are supporting the farmers even right now in terms of when their crop is a failure.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, when their crops are a failure,
So that's
they
good.
do
Right.
reimburse some amount of money trying to help them. And there are various other schemes which can be available to the farmers
Okay.
from the point of view of the government.
Okay.
The government will have to see how they may have to rethink their strategies on it.
Right.
What exactly they may venture into and do is something I really wouldn't know.
Okay.
If there is something that we feel we can speak to the government about,
Yeah.
then we'll definitely engage to see if that can be moved and get their support in trying to support the farm.
So then an exploration stage.
Yeah.
Have you ever spoken to the Indian government about anything?
Not to a great extent, not to the level of trying to change systems, but we engage with them in trying to increase our farmer reach.
Farmer reach.
Like trying to get more farmers to the platform.
Onto the platform,
Being able to work with more farmers and see if we can convert them to organic and things like that. But not to the extent where we may want to effect a policy change.
Okay, and how have your interactions with them been so far?
Good.
Oh, that's great.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that means the government is pro, because I do see like things being built right now. There's this highway coming up in Mumbai and so on. So it seems like it's good. And just by the posters, something about Mumbai belongs to everyone or something. I can't remember what the slogan was, but it seems almost like the government is very supportive in building up the country right now.
Yeah, actually.
Okay, that's good to know. Because different countries is different, you know that.
Government is supportive.
Okay.
But then again, it's a relative thing too, right?
Yeah.
Somebody may not get the support that they're looking for, but that's not a legitimate support that they need. While they may think that it was the support that was needed to be needed. So the government then becomes non-pro farmer. But somebody gets the support and then they become the pro farmer. So we've got to take things also on a case by case basis.
Yeah, of course.
Really understand if the help was justified and needed and warranted or not.
Yeah. Generalizing really helps no one.
Right.
And it's just an exercise in being more conscious also.
Right.
And then what about the previous question about how do we know if when big brands say organic, it's legit? Because just in my mind, I could be being naive, but it just, like you mingle with enough light workers and evolved people for a while. And you look at this bread, like this gardenia bread in Singapore, which is just a bread brand.
Right.
And then it's like so packaged, so white, so well cut. And it's like multi-grain organic. I'm like, are you fucking out of your mind? What does that even mean?
Or there would be limits to the level of authenticity of each thing. Okay. It's pretty natural. I don't think anything is perfect. And therefore, there could be some level of things that are not correct.
Right.
The government comes out with stipulations to make things the way they are in terms of standardization. So, to a great extent, you may have to rely on them. So, when we talk about organic farming, when we talk about organic certifications, the organic certifications are done by government accredited agencies.
Right.
And many of them are done taking into consideration international standards too.
Right.
So there are NPOP or there are NOP kind of certifications.
Yeah.
So we have to have a bare minimum level of standards to be maintained if at all a farmer wants to export.
Correct. I understand.
So there are standards that have to be maintained, and how do you authenticate whether you're maintaining a standard is in terms of the certification. Certain things are just the way I believe this, just the way they are. And then you have to kind of rely on the government. Somebody has to be the authority to say, yes, that's the way.
Yes. No, I agree. Yeah. And that's that's like even an ongoing battle in like, or not an ongoing battle, but maybe an ongoing process. Even in spirituality, even in the health field, even in just.
I was just about to say pharma too.
Yeah.
Or you look at any other safety aspect. You look at flying, or you look at safety at sea. There are standards that are set. There are inspections that are done, and there are certifications that are given.
Yeah.
But over and above that, that is only that much that can be done to really ensure that everything is 100%.
Correct.
So that is what we have to kind of go with and see how we can explore and make it even more full. So, like, say we're talking about certifications, right? So, the way the organic certifications work is there are two inspections that happen. Is an inspection that happens wherein the farmer knows that he's going to be inspected. That's an announced scheduled inspection.
Right.
And once that inspection is done and he is into the certification process, there is another one which happens, which is unannounced. It's a surprise inspection. And that is supposed to happen anytime within the 1 year that the certification is valid.
Okay. This is for Indian farmer.
That's, yeah.
Or just
I'm talking
farmer general?
No. This is for the Indian NPOP certification.
Okay.
And so you have a surprise inspection which has been put in place. Where we will come in also is, if at all that farmer, and we are trying to add that additional layer of protection,
Right.
or ensuring that this farmer is actually following the stipulations, we too will get into an
Oh,
understanding.
farmer.
Right.
Shit, I kept hearing farmer.
Okay, no.
Okay. I was like, okay,
So
that makes sense now.
when we engage with the farmers, not at this level, but at the future stage as we grow,
Yeah.
our intent is also to have a team of inspectors who will go about onto a farm and do a surprise inspection.
Right.
And that would be unannounced as well.
Yeah.
So that would be something that we would add on, apart from the already existing inspection schedules that the government accredited agencies have
Right.
who are
Yeah.
certifying.
Yeah.
So there are only checks that you can put in place, but you can't have everything 100%. Yeah. So the
Right.
same thing with hospitals, it's the same thing with everywhere. So somewhere, some level of trust factor has to come in, and some level of trust deficit would be. I think we've got to kind of live with it. That's what I feel.
Yeah, no, that's true, definitely. So, in a sense, we can try to make as many changes as you can try to make as many changes and improve the industry and the plight of the farmer and everyone in the supply chain.
Right.
And then, at the end of the day, we're still dealing with humans.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah,
And we are dealing with, we could be dealing with unforeseen circumstances for which we may have not planned,
right,
or which have just come up, and we may not have solutions for it
correct,
at that point in time.
right,
But then that's life, and that's where we counter the problems and we ignore it.
right,
You don't know what kind of a pest attack is going to happen. Certain things may be something that we already know of, which could happen. And certain things may just happen. So
Right
we have
on.
to be ready for those things.
Pest attack. It's funny you mentioned that. I just watched Jurassic World Dominion last night. Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
There's a locust attack. A movie, and the synchronicities in my life have just been going like mad. Have you been experiencing these synchronicities?
No, not yet.
Not right.
I mean, few things do happen.
Yeah.
Nothing that comes off I can basically talk about. But yeah, there are things that there is a soft voice which says, "Don't do this, don't do that." That's good enough. Do you know? If I
Yeah.
should say.
Right. Like what?
Yesterday I was on the bike.
Okay. Oh, you ride a bike?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And after a while, there seemed to be some issues with it. I decided not to ride up further.
Okay.
I parked the bike in a residential neighborhood
Yeah.
off the highway,
Yeah.
and then I continued my journey in the Ola.
Right.
I came back after I finished my meetings, and there were some issues. I don't know how there were 4 punches, but the bike was still riding. But then once I got it checked, because I kind of parked in a neighborhood that was close to a petrol, and there was a mechanic out there, and he said, "You better get your tires changed, right?
Right.
Otherwise it can explode."
Oh.
Where are you from? I said, I came from Mumbai.
Right. Oh,
So he said, "Yeah, you better change it because you've got to go back on the highway."
right.
I was going to Powai.
Oh, bye-bye.
And I stopped somewhere in between. I don't even know where exactly I stopped. I just took down the location because I'm not very familiar with every part. Maybe that's something that you can add to the intuitive abilities that I have developed.
Nice.
Right. But I got both my tires changed. I said, "You have to change both the tires."
Change them where? The petrol station.
Another good thing. They had these collaborations, right? So they had someone
Oh,
who
that's
got the
cool.
tires, and they called up and they got new tires, and I said, "Rather change both of them." There were some issues. We got it fixed. So it was good that something within me was like, something doesn't seem right.
Right.
Stop the bike.
Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is what exactly have you been up to with your own spiritual sort of practices and your own like personal development and things like this? Because people who view my show, they are totally into this stuff, totally into like authenticity, freedom living, and blah blah blah. So you kept mentioning Joe Dispenza just now in an excited way, like an excited school kid. Dilnaz gave me one of his books, but I have not opened the book yet. It's called The Art of Unbecoming Yourself or something like that. Not becoming yourself or rewiring
With
it.
changing the habits of being yourself.
I even forget it what the book is called, but it's white and it has some blue stuff on it.
Okay.
So what's your what do you do for personal development or
So yeah, inconsistency has been something characteristic of me with these things in terms of health and fitness and on spiritual levels also. But in the recent past, I have been meditating well. Right now, I'm doing a kind of meditation that is called Anapanasati. So it's called breath mindful meditation. So it's
Okay.
just about being aware of your breath
right?
and trying to be just aware of the breath. And if there are any thoughts that come into your mind, you let it come, just observe it and let it go.
Right.
And it's been going on pretty well.
Okay.
I've been doing it consistently
Okay.
for about 2 months, which is good.
Oh.
Otherwise, I have done meditation before too, but again, inconsistency has been something that I have been doing it with. So,
Like daily or
kind of daily, yeah. I
Okay.
do it at least at night before I go to bed
yeah.
and early in the morning.
Right.
Early in the morning, it could be any time. I normally get up
Yeah.
at 4 or 5, the
Yeah.
eyes open up.
Yeah.
I don't set my alarm,
Okay.
and so I do it within that time. And I think for me, the morning times are much better. I seem to get into it for a longer period of time in the morning when I'm just waking up. Night is also okay because it's helped me just cool myself off, unwind before I just go to bed.
Right.
But it's good. I like what I'm doing and hope I can just keep it going on well.
That's cool. Okay. So what do you learn from Joe Dispenza?
I actually started following him.
Yeah.
There were quite a few of his meditations that I have seen. Getting your mind out of your body, heart mind coherence meditation, and I did a few of them
Yeah.
for a time.
Yeah.
And I just like the way he talks, the way he explains things in terms of being mindful, in terms of being spiritual, and being unlimited beings.
Right.
And he had a story wherein how he got into the whole thing, where he met with an accident. I think his back was completely crushed, and how just with his visualizations and meditations and being mindful, he actually rebuilt his entire spinal cord. And that's how he had said that if that happens, then I'll dedicate my life
Oh,
to
I
teaching
heard that. I
people.
heard that.
So it's a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
inspirational
I heard
way, and I like his YouTube videos and the way he talks about things.
Right.
So he has a meditation which I do, which is about being just in space, where you try,
Basically,
right, you are just one with everything around you, and you're in no time, no place, nowhere, and you're just one with the universe. You are an unlimited being
Right.
in the unknown, and that's where all the unlimited possibilities exist. So I do that meditation too, and the meditation that I'm doing right now, Anapanasati, is somewhat kind of related to Dr. Joe's meditation of being able to feel the space around you.
Okay. And this one's by who?
This one, there is a organization called Buddha CEO, and I just kind of came across it on Facebook,
Yeah.
and there was a 40-day meditation course where they talk about Anapanasati and being breath mindful and doing those meditations. So I got hooked onto it from there on. So I've been doing that now since early July or late July, and consistently been doing it. So it's pretty good. Raises your level of awareness. You become more mindful of your thoughts. The mental diarrhea is something that I haven't been able to control it completely, but at least I'm aware of it. Even during my waking hours, I'm conscious of that many occasions and
Yeah.
try to get back to being in the present. So let me enjoy a sip of my coffee with full concentration.
Be in the present. Yeah, no, totally.
Full focus on the coffee.
Yeah.
Not that I'm drinking coffee and I'm thinking of something. Nice.
Yeah. No, that is cool. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't know. So when you said inconsistency there, I feel like sometimes maybe we're too hard on ourselves. What do you think? Because like even if we do it once a week, some people, I mean, you could call that inconsistent, or you can call that being weekly consistent. I mean,
Yeah. As far as there is a pattern, I think it's all right.
Yeah.
What I mean by inconsistency is that I do it for a while and then for some reason there is a break. And then from that break, for whatever be the reasons,
yeah,
that break just continues. And it actually means, in the sense that the break was not a small period of time that I couldn't do it.
yeah,
It just breaks away from what I used to do and what habits I had set in. So I could be traveling for a few days,
yeah,
which may take me away from meditation at night because I may be a little bit more tired or more engaged, coming home late,
yeah,
late nights, busy meetings. And then I don't do it for those few days.
right,
I come back home and instead of getting back into meditation, I don't get into it.
right,
And that is where the practice, that habit that you have formed breaks up. So it's just same thing like you run or you lift your weights and then you slowly and steadily build on your stamina. That it's the same thing I think with meditation where, and I have felt it, that at a point in time when you're doing it consistently, you can feel the difference.
feel the difference. Oh,
You feel that there is a, like even when I'm doing anapanasati, I can feel that there is, like I'm putting two thoughts, I'm aware that I'm there, what's happening.
yeah,
I'm breathing deeper or I'm breathing more naturally. And then when you break that with him, when you come back into it, it could be hard.
oh yeah, for
Right?
sure.
So if you maintain the consistency, your stamina, just like your muscles.
But do we need that stamina to do it? So, for example, if you come back a year later, and I found that in like certain meditations, I do it for like a month or even like 6 days. The next time I do it is a year later. But could it be possible that our soul already knows that, oh, in these 6 days, this guy or this girl needs this? So let them have the thought of going into this meditation. 6 days later, oh, they healed past that shit that was holding them back.
Right.
Take it easy for a while until this human fucks up his path again.
Right.
And now, oh, hang on, what's that thing? Oh, that meditation. Like, get him used to that one again for like another 19 days. Because this time it's a bit more painful for him. And then it's fine. It doesn't need. Have you ever considered that possibility?
Yeah, I've considered that possibility too, but then you've got to reach that stage where the soul is speaking to you and you're hearing your soul. Right?
Or maybe it's not speaking to you and you are the soul.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah.
Another way to look at it.
Yeah.
We are the soul anyways, but what I'm trying to say is that we have a mind too,
Right.
and intuitively our guides tell us also what to do, but we've got to be in a position to know what they are saying,
Right.
right?
Right.
If there is a lot of chatter, there's a lot of clutter, you don't hear what is being said or you don't know how you're being guided along.
Right.
So if you have not reached that level of receptiveness,
Yeah.
then you don't know. But if you reach that level of receptiveness and you know that, all right, I've done it for 6 days,
Yeah.
and I don't need to do it for the next one here.
Yeah.
And you know it with surety because that's the inner voice coming out and saying it. Then yes, go ahead and do it.
Right.
But till you don't have clarity on that,
Yeah.
that could be the problem. Now I say I'm doing it inconsistently because I don't think my inner voice is telling me after I come back, maybe this time I came back from Delhi, say, sorry, I don't do it.
Yeah.
I could feel that I've woken out from that habit
Yeah.
and my body is very complacent about not wanting to do what it should do.
Correct.
So at some point in time, you have to be also able to honestly, with integrity, differentiate whether
Yeah.
that's something you're doing out of complacency and laziness, or is it coming from the inner voice telling you not to do it? If you can differentiate those things, then you're good enough. And the body is not the mind. And most of the time, the body is controlling the mind. and you've got to make sure that the mind controls the body. That's where discipline comes in. And
Right.
discipline does not mean that you just take yourself also for granted and you don't give it the break, the respect that you need to give it.
Yeah. So many. Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's such a deep topic. But so I find that topic pretty interesting about how we identify whether it's just our laziness or it's our soul talking to us or it's our guides talking to us or it's just you had an argument with someone and you didn't exercise that day or you didn't feel like going to the gym or you didn't feel like doing your things, which you do feel like doing when you're productive and your slate is clean. How do you know that that's just you being affected by someone's energy or is your guide saying maybe we need to clean that energy out? We're going to do it by sitting by the ocean, not by doing squats at the gym.
Right.
How do we know that? So, personally, I can share about how I know it. Maybe you can share about how you know it. If you do, you?
I don't know yet. I haven't reached that stage yet. I define it or categorize it as inconsistency because I feel it within our body. No, I don't want to do it right. It's the body showing you that complacency that it doesn't want to do what it's right.
I'm going to push your boundaries a bit.
Yeah.
Isn't your soul in your body?
Yes, it is.
Isn't your soul guiding how your leg feels at the moment?
Absolutely.
So how do you know then that it's just the body?
Because the way I characterize that feeling at that point in time, and how I see it is the laziness.
Okay, let's
But there are times
Yeah.
when I feel that urge that I should meditate.
Mm,
And there are times that I have also put my head down, not doing it today. Forget it. Tomorrow I got to get up early the next day. So let's not do it. And there is something again within me saying that, are you sure it's going to be 5 days? Now you've again broken the pattern. And is it good enough for you? Good enough for you? And then I get up and I sit down and I feel good.
so how do you know? And just playing devil's advocate here, and this flies now on our cake, but it's okay. That might
It's all right.
cause a
let's
disease.
let's not harm.
Okay, yeah, let's not.
You also enjoy.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So how do you know that the voice telling you to not do it is also not divine? Is it a societal construct where we need to work hard to the point where you don't work hard one day, you feel like, oh, I'm fucking up. Like, how do you know that that's not your spirit guide saying, wait, slow down. All the shit on earth is wrong so far. Well, not all, but you know what I'm saying.
I got it.
We've messed up the system. You actually are supposed to rest today and listen to your body. You're not supposed to gym 7 times a week. That's crazy town by people who need to prove something to themselves in their own lives because they're broken mentally. They're like now like, whoa, check out my body. Like now I feel whole because they're not whole actually. How do you know that that's not embedded by this oppressive society we've learned to create on earth? And actually, that you can look amazing if you just work out properly 2 days a week and rest for 5. Eat well for the 5, meditate, be light with yourself, not over input fats. So how do you know? Do you know? Or what's your
It's that inner
thoughts?
feeling.
What's your
It's just
thoughts?
that inner feeling and the way I analyze my inner feelings.
Yeah.
Right? You may analyze it differently.
Right.
I may analyze it differently, and we all have our different perspectives.
Right.
So, like I explained to you how I feel, hey, I should not be doing it today. I don't feel, and then I analyze that as like you're being lazy. You should be doing it, and it takes a while to get yourself disciplined. The body always wants to take over the mind on many an occasions, and the body wants to do its thing. And if you allow the body, many a times, of course, the body is also speaking to you. Because right now, if I hit you,
Yeah.
you feel the pain. It's telling you something. Then move your hand off
Yeah.
or protect yourself.
Yeah.
But at times, I believe that just as this message has gone across to you, that I've hit you right now, I need to protect yourself.
Yeah.
In a way, it is still, there is a message that is coming across to you also, which says that, listen, this is not what is right. You need to be doing this. This is my self-analysis.
Yeah. And are you saying that that message is coming from your mind or your body or both? Because you were quite specific
Right.
there.
It's coming from within. I don't know how it is. And there is something that pulls me up and says, listen, wake up. Get up. Okay? Don't be doing what you're doing. I'm trying to go to sleep. And it is telling me. And you feel that within your body that no, you need to You need to sit up and just breathe with your breath. And then, okay, I just say, okay, possibly I got to breathe. And then I feel very satisfied that I did it. And the analysis at that point in time is that, yes, I did break through something which was causing an unnecessary resistance for me moving forward and in the right. So, I used to go to the gym before too. So, once I used to go to the gym, after a while, your body cries for it. It tells you, okay, it's gym time.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Exactly.
Right? So it's telling you. In a similar manner, there are times when the body is crying, but there is that thing in you which is saying, not today. No. So you've got to analyze whether that's part which is saying gym time and the other part which says, not today. Which one is the right one? That's why many a times you have gym buddies or whatever. Each one pulls the other for, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And then we get together and we move. That's accountability.
So
in the same thing,
yeah.
It's the same thing that happens to me with like.
Okay, so initially I thought you were saying that like the mind is correct, the body is wrong or something like that. But it doesn't sound like it to an extent.
Yes.
But you are also saying that it could be whatever depending on the scenario. And you do trust your inner voice.
Right.
To help you align what's correct for you, given your goals. But there's this concept, I'm not sure if you heard of it in Conversations with God. And I also wanted to add that you do sound a lot like Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
The way you would describe it is now. So anyway, I read about this concept in Conversations with God that there's no such thing as right and wrong in the universe. So, but of course I know in society we use the word right a lot. And of course you're just using it in a way to explain. However, I don't think we'd ever be able to accurately know what is the right one or the wrong one. And it's similar to the concept of shoulds. And I like to tell people that the word should doesn't really make sense unless there's a goal attached to it. Right? So if a parent says you should be first in class, that's complete crap. Unless they're saying you should be first in class if you want to be considered for this scholarship. Okay, then that should make sense. Otherwise, it's just bullshit. It might make sense in their mind based on their goal for the kid, but for the kid's life, it's rubbish. So in that sense, I assume, and I'm just being self-indulgent here, I assume that when you say the right one, you're meaning in line with your goals, whatever you might be trying to...
My interpretations of way I feel within myself.
Right.
Even if there is a debate that is going on, which one pushes me more?
Correct. And what do you think guides that? What's the underlying principle that guides that? Which one pushes you more? Do you think it's your soul, your spirit guides, all of it?
I think it's
all of it.
But again, you don't know. Probably I believe, like you said, there is no right and wrong. So I could be doing something which I feel I should be doing, but I shouldn't be doing. Right?
Based on...
Let's say it's pushing me to wake up and do the meditation.
Right.
Now I feel that was the right thing to do and that was the right push. That's how I've analyzed it. But then the greater schemes of things in terms of reality and spirituality, maybe I was doing it wrong.
Yeah, it could just be paranoia.
Correct.
It could be that voice of your mom when you were a kid.
Right.
Why didn't you do the meditation?
But that is what whatever books I've been reading, the bottom line is quiet your mind.
Right.
Let it stay as steady as possible. It's not easy. It's not absolutely 100% possible unless until you're absolutely evolved that you will not get lost. Look, the mind is, the main function is to think. How much of a chatter is there is also a point of consideration question.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that and then see how we can be silent, show that we can take actions through inspiration.
Yeah, I like that.
Inspired actions. Wherein you stay attuned to your higher self or super consciousness that connects you and guides you to be doing the right.
Right.
And that will only come if there is silence. And that is what I have seen with most, what I have heard and understood from most of the gurus. Whoever I may have, been reading about or following or you.
Yeah.
The underlying principle is that.
And so for the common man who doesn't know anything about spirituality, if I just rephrase that simply, it would be maybe the voice that's guiding you when you are completely quiet and not desperate, and you're just like, maybe let's just say you sit down for like
Yeah.
2 minutes in a moment of like, okay, maybe the correct voice shall guide me now. The voice that comes through then, when you're completely not full this way or that, is the divine voice or the right
Is
voice.
that nudge or that name that comes into your flash or a thought that comes into it.
Yeah,
That is what it is. I mean, I'm sure you must have also been a meditator.
of course.
I've got
Yeah.
such kind of messages
Yeah.
and
Hear them all the time.
yeah, right. So that's the inner voice speaking.
Yeah.
Now you got to at a point in time
Yeah.
decided that was the right voice.
Yeah.
And then make your moves.
Yeah, and I get those. Strangely for me, it first started in the gym many years back. I realized I'm getting voices speaking to me when I'm in the gym, and I'm a very disciplined gym person. I don't talk to anyone. I don't call anyone. I don't scroll my phone. I mean, unless I have something to upload that day. I just look at my stopwatch. 2 minutes rest. Start the stopwatch. I'm just silent for and that's when they speak to me. And I go like, damn it, I need my phone now because I can write down all these ideas that come to me. And I usually I think it's my spirit guide giving me quotes. I mean, I'm calling them quotes. Actually, they're just guidance for me. And then, but of course, that's how all authors and writers and musicians and artists work is we write down the things that we channel, right? So I turn them into quotes. And then go in a friend circle, we recently let go of from mine and my wife's lives because it wasn't really serving us. She used to like ask me at parties. The first time she saw like multiple quotes coming out for the first time, which was 7 years ago. She was like, "Huh? Where do you get all these quotes from? Tell me, where are you stealing them from?" I was like, "Not stealing them, like, because I mean I have a complex where I think I'm super good at everything." And so I thought she would know that that's just a universal truth. So why would I need to steal anything? I create shit that's very cool by
Does
myself.
this come to me through inspiration?
Yeah, they do. And I thought like that would be something she would know. And she was like, she thought I was lying. Because she comes from a very survival immigrant mindset. She's like, nah, there's no way this guy can fucking write quotes like this. And she's like, see, this look like this guy must be lying. I'm like, why would I lie? What's there to lie in this? And she was like, so, how do you hear them? And I was like, I do a set in the gym and I'm like, and then I hear them. she's like, oh, okay. And then she'd look at me funny when I would win in poker. And then she'd look at me funny when I release a new song. And basically, she's pretty jealous. One day after a poker game, she was like, I hope all your luck dies.
Oh my god.
And I was like, it's like, what? Like, okay. And then I did question my wife about this friend circle a lot. And I did say like, these are the things she's saying. Of course, she's smiling and saying them. But no other friend has said things like this to me.
Mm.
Maybe they're secretly thinking, and I don't know. But I was like, is this really the people you want to be around? Like, anyway, so that's another topic. But yeah, they come to me in the gym, in the shower. And later on, a couple of years later, after it started happening, I read something like what you said, which is, it's probably Joe Dispenza or somebody else who put it online, which said, of course you get your best ideas in the shower. Lots of entrepreneurs say it. It's because that's the time your mind is quiet.
Quiet.
Yeah. So
There are many times when I know that I have something which is going on and is right and I shouldn't be doing it.
it's right, but you shouldn't be doing it.
No, it's right and we shouldn't be doing it.
Okay.
Or especially for the team
Right.
when it comes to
Right.
running a professional teams while I was in the corporate.
Yeah.
At that point in time, somehow I'm not able to put my thoughts in words, but I know it shouldn't be. And then once I'm off to sleep, and if I have gone to sleep after having quiet in my mind, not with a restless mind, at times the entire explanation kind of comes in. And I'm aware that the explanation is correct.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm still in deep sleep, but that explanation is coming and I'm aware of it. By the time I get up, I've forgotten about it, but I knew that was there.
Yeah.
Or on many occasions, I've woken up and kind of that has stayed present with me. I possibly even send an email out at that point in time, or try to remember what exactly it was, go back to sleep, and then the next morning,
Yeah.
if at all I go and speak to that person or whatever,
Yeah.
I was able to put that argument.
Yeah.
So these things do happen, and that is where
Yeah.
I think the quietening of the mind is very essential.
Right. I get those too.
Right. In fact, I read I think it was Einstein only. He had said that when he's working on an idea and 99 times he's trying to think of a solution
Yeah.
and he's not got the solution,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he's left that and he's gone for a swim,
Yeah.
and all that he does is he's enjoying his swim,
Yeah.
and he comes back as the idea or the solution pops up.
Right.
That's where it is. So
Yeah.
again, he's just going back to the same thing, that quiet in your mind. You don't necessarily need to figure things out. It will be figured out for you,
Yeah.
provided you are in a position to receive the answer.
Right.
So, and that is where probably the consistency may be needed
Right.
to quieten your mind to the extent that you can receive it, and that may come. That will definitely need practice.
Yeah.
Practice is essential.
Vishen in the Mind Valley course was saying like how he used to get his ideas was he used to hold this like iron ball or whatever with string and then go to sleep and hang it outside the bed with his and hang it outside the bed with his hand, like off the bed. Then he like start falling asleep. And when your brain switches to this particular state is when you're particularly receptive to the universe. And just at that state you sort of lose motor control. And he would let go of the string and the ball would bang on the floor and he'd wake up with the idea he just got. And then he'd go write it out.
Possible.
Yeah.
Few different methods,
Yeah.
but kind of for the same. The solution comes in the same way, right? You do it differently, but it's all about probably silencing the mind, shutting down the analytical mind for a while, so that the inspiration comes.
Right.
I think that's the
Yeah.
base or the bottom line of the whole.
And apparently that's how Michael Jackson used to do it too. So in one interview, like I think it was Oprah or another guy was interviewing him. And they showed the guy was asking him like the guy was doing that thing that girl in our friend circle was doing and be like, who writes all your songs? Like as though with that face, like, how can you possibly write so many good songs? And then Michael Jackson gives him a blank look like, isn't it obvious? And then he just goes like, because the guy asked, so where do all the lyrics come from? And he's like, from above.
Yeah.
Where else? So like,
A lot of writers also and authors, they write through inspiration
yeah,
because they're so well connected. That's why they talk about the
yeah,
times that you put in dedicated at night when everything is silent around you, or early morning.
yeah.
The Brahma Muru.
Yeah, mine's night. Like, because the moment my daughter goes to sleep
Right.
is when I suddenly enter this like, oh my god, it's silent, I can work.
Same.
And then like my wife was like, why do you have to stay up till 2 a.m. every night? I was like, why does Shah Rukh Khan have to stay awake till 5 a.m. every night? I don't know. It's just how we're built, creative people. But no, I have had those. Do you prefer mornings or nights? Like early mornings or late nights? Or,
As per what I've been doing right now, habitually nights. But I still feel that mornings are better. In terms of meditation, for me, I think morning is still better.
right.
But what I like to do is do the night meditation. So I silence my mind
Right.
as much as I can.
Okay.
Then I go off to sleep. So I'm not sleeping in that restless state,
Right.
right? So when you wake up in the morning too, you feel much better. So it's a much better start when you're meditating.
Yeah.
If it's been a lot of hustle and bustle through the day, I don't do the night meditation, or having spent enough time to at least quieten my mind with a
Yeah.
nice silent shower or whatever.
Yeah.
And just get into bed
Yeah.
with the same jammed up mind.
Yeah.
I tend to wake up the same way.
Right.
And then sometimes the struggle happens in the morning.
Right.
Even though I'm still in a sleepy, wakey state,
Yeah.
I can make out that my mind is not that silent.
Ah, yeah.
Right?
I see what you're saying.
So it helps build up the momentum.
Correct. That's very true. Yeah. Even Teal, do you follow Teal Swan?
I have seen a few of her videos, but
Right.
don't follow it.
Okay. So even she said the same thing to another podcast host where she was like, they asked her recently, what are you focusing on? So she was like, multivitamins, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And then she said, the way I go to sleep. I was like, and they were like, what do you mean by that? And she was like, the way I go to sleep is the way I sleep, is my dreaming state and my astral travel and whatnot. And it's also the way I wake up. If I want to wake up peacefully, I got to go to sleep peacefully. And I haven't really felt that like in a very concrete way. But for me personally, I feel it like when I exercise late at night, mind's a bit restless. Same with doing a music performance. That's why musicians can't sleep. If you end the gig at 11, There's no way you can be sound asleep by 12. It just doesn't work. No matter how tired you are, the mind's active. And then I guess there's cortisol and other stress in your body as well. So if anybody wants to contact you about your company or just talking to you more, how would they reach out to you?
We have a page which is called Kheti-Badi.com. They could reach us on that. And the same Kheti-Badi page is available with Facebook and LinkedIn as well. We haven't yet gone much on Instagram, but slowly we'll start getting some videos out there as our activities increase.
All right.
And of course, they can reach me on Facebook also, on my own personal page or LinkedIn page.
All right, fantastic. So we drop all those links for you guys in the YouTube description. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we say goodbye?
Nothing. Stay well, stay healthy, stay safe.
I love getting all these wise guests on my podcast because I don't have to do any outros because they all do it for me. I love it. The same thing happened yesterday. Okay, thanks so much, guys. This was Nainshad, and we hope you had a good time. Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for being me on.
Let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
Okay, take care and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh my god. You should have brought me here sooner. I don't know what you were doing.
There are many more places.
You're a man full of surprises, Mr. So we got John Abraham in the frame. You know you look like John Abraham, right?
Am I making you nervous?
No. I'm just dehydrated. I can't think.
No, the coffee too, right?
But I need the coffee though, because after 2 days ago, I was having 3 cups of coffee. Yesterday, I had like 1. Then I met my cousin Ugunas around me and we had tea and just some more vegetable chaat type things. So I had not much meat, not much coffee. So my usual diet was not happening.
Are you back into meat again? I think you had, or you were off coffee.
Yeah, but I'm back into coffee. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're drinking coffee.
I'm reaching like a different, I don't know, I wouldn't say reaching, but I feel like I'm in a different self-love stage now where even the other day, my quantum healer, Julia, she was like, I was typing to her about a lot of like marital problems I was going through. Like I and my wife were navigating earlier in the year because this has been a year of like solid self-growth for the both of us. Now we are much better and back to the same kind of romance when we were dating, which is great. But it's taken like a lot of unraveling. There's a lot of, we let a lot of shit into our lives over the past 7-8 years. Now we're slowly thinking out what, because we have pretty weak boundaries because we're both empaths and into spirituality and that type of stuff. So anyway, so my point is, the healer was like, if you have a headache, take a paracetamol or aspirin or whatever you need to take. And the word she used was, show yourself some self-love and take that drug. And I was shocked. I was like, what? Like, did you say that? She's like, yeah. And then you cleanse it out of your system after that. Sometimes that's what you need. You don't have to sit there in pain for 8 days with a headache when you have one. That's just stupidity. And I was like, oh, okay. So maybe I'm taking it too far, but in line with that self-love, when I now feel like eating meat, I'm eating meat. When I feel like having coffee, I'm having coffee. I'm like, I'm super stressed out because I've got to interview all these people. I'm nervous. I'm having coffee, fine.
Don't you feel like having a date right now?
Yes, I did. That's why.
Nice.
That's why I said let's take a break.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This is good too. I don't get much of the Mosambik flavor.
Okay.
But yeah, cake is nice, well sweetened, moist, and the orange marmalade is definitely good.
I must say I love Indian food though.
You don't find it spicy or?
I mean, you could tailor it down, right? Is the one thing that I really enjoyed on this trip is the food. Like last night, I finished at the gym. There's this gym called Way to Fitness. 2-story gym in Colaba, opposite the 24-hour Chemist Wellness Forever, just down that lane. I finished at 11 when they closed, because it was a long day. I went to the gym at night. Came out, and asked the guy who runs the gym, I think his name's Rohit, and asked him, and I was like, where can I get food now? It's like, jaldi jao ye lane mein, right to Cafe Paris.
Okay.
Abhi jao.
Cafe Paris.
So I went there. It's run by a Muslim uncle, and true enough, Cafe Paris, right? And I was like, idhar kya milega jo, jo spicy nahi hai. And then it's like, ye or dabba gosh, whichever you want. So I was like, okay, dabba gosh. I don't know what dabba gosh is. So he calls the guy and he's like the waiter or whatever you call them out here in India, servers, and then he's like, egg dabba gosh, thoda bhi, what, chili,
Spicy.
yeah, thoda bhi spicy nahi chahiye. Something, he said something along those lines.
Okay.
Comes back with a dabba gosh. I go home, take it in a packet, go home, open it after the gym, super hungry. And I open it, and at first I thought it was beja, right? Because it had this white covering. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna vomit tonight. I can't do the organ stuff, I can't do it. And then and it's like, let me take a nibble. It's not beja, it's an egg. They coated it with this egg, and I was like, oh my god, that's exactly what I need after my workout. So they have egg in there with the vegetables, so almost like an akuri thing going on. Great. Also what I need. Then they have the mutton, obviously. Then they have these noodles inside.
Yeah.
Throw in a couple of noodles, like 3 or 4 noodles. And I was like, okay, I don't know what's up with the noodles, but I wouldn't do that. But the fact that the whole damn thing tastes so delicious, doesn't need any seasoning. You can like get it served in 10 minutes. Cost 200 rupees only, which is what? 3.5 Singapore dollars.
Something Singapore.
3.5. Or 60 is now under 60. So about 3.5 Singapore dollars. You would never get that in Singapore. That amount of mutton and like cooked so well with the egg. It's just that in Singapore that would cost you $8, $9, $10. So the fact that it's cheap and good, but then again, I am earning in Singapore dollars, so that might be adding to the
conversion does add.
It does add to the benefit because someone else.
There's a lot of difference for me also when I used to be in the US.
Right.
And when I would come here.
Yeah.
So the exchange rates were pretty high. So the spending power kind of increases your earning capacity, especially in dollars. The dabba gosh is what you had.
Last night, rice that the helper had cooked that was left over, and the dal, the Parsi yellow dal. We call it Mori dal.
Mori dal.
I keep forgetting your Parsi. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I was like trying to convert for you. That just happened the last time too. I don't know why.
It seemed like a revelation to you. I mean, are you Parsi? Yeah. But in fact, I told you.
I don't know. It's just the way you carry yourself is different. It's because you're well traveled. I think because you sound different.
Possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
I'm Khambatta.
Yeah. So Mori dal, and then a fried fish which my dad had made earlier in the day. I added that to the plate. This was all in the fridge. I added some homemade chicken tikka that my helper had made to the plate. He did all that up. Then I added half the dabba gosh to it, which was hot. They gave an onion on top and some lemon to squeeze. And so I sat down. So that's a great meal for after gym. Carbs and protein. I sat down there and I was like, okay, I did this interview. It's great. I'm feeling good, productive. Time to reward myself. I skipped the soft drink. I didn't have a soft drink. I was going to add one, but I was like, no.
Over here, if you come, you should try the. I don't know if you know the raspberry, right?
No.
Or the Parsis. You don't know the raspberry?
It's coming back to me. The red one.
The red
In
one.
the bottle. Dukes. Right.
Quite a few other companies make it also.
Oh.
Palanji makes it. Then I think Rogers does it. So there are many companies that are still doing their raspberry. But yeah, Dukes is one of them.
What's it called? Just raspberry.
It's called raspberry. One of them call it raspberry.
So what do I do when I show up to Cafe Paris? Do you have raspberry?
Cafe?
Paris or any other restaurant like Leopold?
No. It will mainly be in the Bawa Joint. The Irani restaurants,
Okay.
they would have
Right.
even ice cream soda. Any of them have it. I don't know if you tried ice cream.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
The FNN one.
Yeah.
I mean, I have tried the FNN one, but I'd love to try the India version.
Yeah, the India versions are also cheap. He try. I'll try and get you one from here.
Okay.
From Capital Heat.
Cool, man.
If it's a small bottle, sit there. Pint size. You can carry it with you.
Pints. Yes.
Taste.
Yeah. I should have thinking of. I'm just going to ask you those 2 questions I had.
Which one?
I didn't ask you before we had a eating break. But what do you think is the possibility of living in India, in Mumbai, and doing like a chat show like I'm doing right now?
For who?
For me.
Good enough. Why not?
Is there any, no, but like a paid opportunity? I mean, other than running it myself and monetizing myself, are there any like media networks? Like in Singapore, we have MediaCorp,
Not honestly, not that I know of, but I could definitely find out. Sir.
like a ZTV or whatever.
Yeah, I could try and see if I can get some responsibility.
Okay.
But
Like with
from my own, I don't have anything that I'm aware of really doing it and what would be the
Oh, okay.
possibilities and
Okay.
how good those possibilities are
Right.
in terms of making money.
Right.
But
yeah.
I'm sure if you do it by yourself too, after a while in India or even in Mumbai,
Yeah.
you should be able to make good money.
Yeah. You want more of this? This one's addictive.
Yeah, I had it.
You haven't had any. You
I
had
had.
Have more.
It's more like I resembled this to the banana and banana bread, banana cake.
Banana cake.
Yeah, the banana cake.
Yeah. Usually
I
you
have
have
it for
walnut.
breast. Banana walnut. I was not getting it.
Right.
Walnut banana. Very similar.
Yeah.
Because it's got chocolate. But this one is pretty good, so you should taste it. I don't think you tried this.
I tried this, but I didn't try this one on top. Is it good?
Yeah, that's marmalade.
Yeah, that is an awesome bean.
So this is orange. It's orange marmalade.
Correct.
The Mossambi juice is inside the,
Okay, if they say so. That's quite faint.
and that's what I'm saying. It is nice, very well sweetened.
Okay.